We have identified 40 important questions that are repeating in exam. If you want free PDF of this video, please subscribe to our channel and mail us answer the 2 questions that we will ask at the end. 2 questions will be random and will be based on this video only. Please send your answers at certyiq@gmail.com. Alright, this is pattern of exam. You can expect 40 to 60 questions and a passing score is 700. Exam duration is 85 minutes. This is question number 1. Drag and drop. Your company intends to subscribe an Azure sport plan. A sport plan must allow for new sport requests to be opened. Which of the following are sport plans that will allow this? Answer by dragging the correct option from the list to answer area. We have to select and place these options here. So these are sport plans which will open new sport request, because uh, as Premier is now not only supported for the existing users until 1st July 2022, but not for new users. This question shows that you are a new user, because they are saying they want to create a new sport request. As of July 21, Microsoft will no longer enter into Premier support agreements for new customers. Beginning of July 1, 2022, Microsoft will no longer offer Premier support agreement for renewing customers. So in short, don't choose this Premier option, because now basic developer standard and professional direct will allow us to open a new support request, but not Premier. Hence, mark this question accordingly in exam. Question number 2. What are the 2 benefits of cloud computing? Each correct answer present a complete solution. Note, each correct solution is worth 1 point. So, enable the rapid provisioning of resource will be the correct, and one more is there. We have to choose shift capital expenditure to operating expenditure. A and D are the correct answer in this question, because Azure allow you to build, deploy and manage apps more quickly and easily without having to buy or maintain underlying infrastructure. Azure provide flexibility between CapEx, means capital expenditure, and operational expenditure. Capital expenditure generate benefits over a long period. These expenditure are generally non-recurring and result in the acquisition of permanent assets like land, servers, physical servers, right? Operating expenditure are ongoing cost of doing business. Consuming cloud service in a pay-as-you-go model could qualify as an operating expenditure. So moving to next question, question number 3. What is the feature of an Azure virtual network? So D will be the correct answer. Isolation and segmentation are feature of Azure virtual network. Implement network segmentation patterns on Azure. A unified enterprise segmentation strategy guides technical team to consistently segment access using networking, application identity, and any other access control. Create segmentation in your network footprint by defining parameters. Next question. Hotspot, select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Which of these will enable Azure resources to be deployed close to users? So keyword here is close to users, and we will deploy geo distribution enable us to uh, resources to be deployed close to users, right? So this is the correct option here. Because of geo distribution, you can deploy apps and data to regional data centers around the globe, thereby ensuring that your customers always have the best performance in their region. Question number 5. Drag and drop. Match the cloud computing benefits to the appropriate descriptions. To answer, drag the appropriate benefit from the column on the left to its description on the right side. This is description. Each benefit may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Each correct match is worth 1 point. So, which of these will increase the compute capacity of apps in the cloud? So, correct will be scalability. Scalability allows us to increase the compute capacity of apps in the cloud. So second, which of these will provide a continuous user experience with no apparent downtime? So the keyword here is no downtime, and it is called as high availability. High availability provide a continuous user experience with no apparent downtime. Third one, ensure that user always have the best experience by deploying apps to all the region where there are users. So what is this? This is geo distribution. Geo distribution allows and ensure that user always have the best experience by deploying apps to all the regions where there are users. So these are the correct option. Question number 6. Which cloud computing benefits uh, provide continuous user access to cloud-based application with minimal downtime? So again, keyword here is minimal downtime. So answer will be D. High availability cloud computing benefit provide continuous user access to cloud-based applications. So the D is the correct answer in that case. High availability refers to a set of technologies that minimize IT disruptions by providing business continuity of IT services through redundant, fault tolerant, or failure protected components. Question 7. You have to drag and drop, match the Azure governance feature to the correct description instructions. To answer, drag appropriate feature from the column on the left. These are the columns, these are the options, to its description on the right. This is the description. Each feature may be used once, more than once, no, not at all. Each correct match is worth 1 point. So we have to select and place. So first one is saying restrict which virtual machine type can be created in a subscription. So we can apply Azure policy in that case. Azure policy will restrict which virtual machine type can be created in subscription. Second, identify Azure resources that are associated with a specific cost center. To identify, we can assign tags. Azure tags will be the correct option here. Azure tags identify Azure resources that are associated with the specific cost centers. Third, deploy a complete Azure application environment, including resources, configuration, and role assignment. So, Azure Blueprint will be the correct answer here. Azure Blueprint will deploy a complete Azure application environment, including resources, configuration, and role assignment. So, these are the correct options. Question number 8, you need to purchase a third-party virtual security appliance that you will deploy to an Azure subscription. So, what should you use? We will use Azure Marketplace. Azure Marketplace will be the correct option here. Question number 9, this is again drag and drop, match the cloud computing benefits to the correct description. To answer, drag the appropriate benefit from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each benefit may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Each correct match is worth 1 point. First one is saying resources can be provisioned dynamically to meet changing demands. So correct option will be scalability in this case. Keyword here is dynamically. They want to provision means create resources. They want to create resources dynamically when demand is high or demand is low. When demand is low, we will remove the resources. When demand is high, we will increase the resources. So this is called as scalability. Second is application and data can be deployed to multiple regions. So this will be geo distributions. Geo distribution allows to application and data to be deployed to multiple regions. Third is saying applications can be deployed, tested, and launched rapidly. So agility will be the correct option here. Agility provides a facility applications can to be deployed, tested, and launched rapidly. So these are the correct option. Question number 10. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Azure Site Recovery provides which of these for virtual machines? So correct option will be disaster recovery. Azure Site Recovery provides disaster recovery for the virtual machines. This is the correct answer. You set up disaster recovery for Azure VM using Azure Site Recovery. Question 11. You have an accounting application named App1 that uses a legacy database. You plan to move App1 to cloud. Which service model should you use? So in this case, infrastructure as services will be the right answer. Don't get confused with this database option, database in this question, because the main requirement is they want to move App1 to the cloud, right? They have a accounting application App1 which they want to move to the cloud. This is the main requirement here. So in that case, infrastructure as services will be the correct option here. The legacy database is a red herring, it is a trap, don't go with it. The question asks which service model is required to move app onto the cloud, not the database. To install accounting software, you would need infrastructure as services, right? Question 12. The hotspot, select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. When you are implementing a software as a service solution, which you are responsible for configuring the SaaS solution, right? With the software as services is a way of delivering applications over the internet as a service. Instead of installing and maintaining software, you simply access it via the internet, freeing yourself from complex software and hardware management. SaaS applications are sometimes called web-based software, on-demand software, or hosted software. Whatever the name, SaaS applications run on a SaaS provider servers. The provider manages access to the applications, including security, availability, and performance. Question 13. Select the correctly select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. An Azure web app that queries on-premise Microsoft SQL Server is an example of which cloud? So the correct option will be hybrid cloud, right? Because the keyword here is web app that is running on-premise SQL database, right? So there are two things. See, one is there is Azure web app, means they are using cloud, Azure cloud. Second thing is there is on-premise Microsoft SQL Server. So there is on-premise also, there is cloud also. So this is a combination. This is a combination of cloud and on-premise. It means it is a hybrid. You can deploy hybrid app with on-premise data that scales around across cloud. Question 14. A Microsoft SQL Server database that is hosted in the cloud and has software updates managed by Azure is an example of which of these? So the correct option will be platform as service here. So there are two things you can keep in mind. One is it is saying it is a database. Second, it is saying it is managed by Azure. So a database that is managed by Azure, it means it is a pass. So the box will choose platform as service here. Keyword is database, which is managed by Azure. So platform as service is a complete development and deployment environment in the cloud with resources that enable you to deliver everything from simple cloud-based application to sophisticated cloud-enabled enterprise applications. You purchase the resources you need from a cloud service provider on a pay-as-you-go basis and access them over a secure internet connection. Question 15. Which term represents the ability to increase the computing capacity of a virtual machine by adding memory or CPUs? It is called as vertical scaling. Why vertical scaling? Because they are increasing the memory or CPUs of this virtual machine. They are not adding an virtual machines, means they are not adding virtual machines. They are increasing their memory of the existing virtual machines, right? So they are vertical scaling or upscaling. They are not horizontal scaling. What is horizontal scaling? If they purchase 10 more virtual machines, it is horizontal scaling. But in this question, they are increasing the capacity of the existing virtual machines by increasing their CPU or memory, right? So this is a vertical scaling example. Vertical scaling, also known as scale up and scale down, means increasing or decreasing the virtual machine size in response to a workload. Compare this behavior with horizontal scaling, also referred to as scale out or scale in, where the number of VMs is altered depending on the workload, right? Question 16. You need to manage containers. Which two services can you use? Each correct answer present a complete solution. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. So we will select Azure Container Instance and Azure Kubernetes Services. So D and E are the correct option here. Azure Container Instance is a solution for any scenario that can operate in an isolated containers without orchestration, run event-driven applications, quickly deploy from your container development pipelines, and run data processing and build jobs. You can manage containers at a scale with a fully managed Kubernetes container management and orchestration service that integrates with Azure Active Directory. So D and E are the correct option here. Question number 17. You have an Azure environment that contains 10 web apps. To which URL should you connect to manage all the Azure resources? To answer, select the appropriate option in the answer area. So in this question, they are asking URL of the Azure portal. So what is the URL? URL is https portal.azure.com, right? So this is the correct option here, portal.azure.com. This is the URL of Azure portal. Azure portal. What is this Azure portal? Azure portal is a web-based management interface where you can view, manage all your Azure resources in a unified hub, including web apps, database, virtual machines, virtual network, storage, and Visual Studio team projects. Right. So this is URL of Azure portal, portal.azure.com. Go and check this out. Question number 18. This is a hotspot. You need to identify which blade in the Azure portal must be used to perform following tasks: view security recommendation, monitor health of Azure services, browse available virtual machine images. So which blade should you identify for each task? To answer, select the appropriate option in the answer area. Note each correct solution is worth 1 point. So first one is monitor the health of Azure services. We, which of these options we will choose? We will choose monitor only. To monitor health of Azure services, we will go to monitor. To browse available virtual machine images, we will go to marketplace, right? And view security recommendation, we can view security recommendation in advisor. So these are the correct option here. Monitor the health of Azure services in monitor, browse available virtual machines images in marketplace, we view security recommendation in advisor. So you can set your mind to this. If you want to you can uh, link this keyword. Health is equal to monitor, and images is equal to marketplace, and recommendations is equal to advisor. Question 19. You have an on-premise application that sends email notification automatically based on a rule. You plan to migrate applications to Azure. You need to recommend a serverless computing solution for the application. So what should you include in the recommendation? So what we'll use out of these? We'll use Logic App. C will be the correct option here, Logic App. Why we didn't choose B? Because B, it is a server. We need a serverless solution, right? D, it is a API. No, we don't. We need to migrate the whole app. We don't need API. A, why we do not choose A? Because web app. Because web require a server. The web is nothing but a huge van composed of many lanes. So C is the correct answer here, where logic app at least tells no conflicting information and implies you can migrate the whole app to it. Also, the word logic refers to the email app sending emails based on one rule. So I imagine it is done automatically or logically, hence they are require a serverless solution. Question 20. You plan to deploy a website to Azure. The website will be accessed by users worldwide and will host large video files. You need to recommend which Azure feature must be used to provide the best video playback experience. So, what should you recommend? We will use CDN or Content Delivery Network, because CDN reduce the latency, right? CDN reduces the latency. It improves the video playback experience. CDN is the correct option here. A content delivery network is a distributed network of servers that can efficiently deliver a web content to a user. Your company plans to deploy several million sensors that will upload data to Azure. You need to identify which Azure resource must be created to support the planned solution. Which two Azure resources should you identify? Each correct answer present part of the solution, and note each correct answer selection is worth 1 point. The correct option will be Azure Data Lake and Azure IoT Hub, because in this statement we can read they want to deploy several million sensors that will upload data to Azure. Here the keyword is deploy, and to deploy IoT solution you have to use Azure IoT Hub. And second one is data lake. Why we choose it? Because it is a typical storage for IoT Hub, as in the below link. You can read it out. Question 22. You have an Azure web app. You need to manage the setting of web app from an iPhone. What are the two Azure management tools that you can use? Each correct answer present complete solution. So we can use Azure Portal, and we can also use Azure Cloud Shell from these options. B and C are the correct one. Anyone with an iPhone, iOS can access Azure Portal and Azure Cloud Shell to manage an Azure web setting. Question 23. Your company plans to deploy an artificial intelligence solution in Azure. What should the company use to build, test, and deploy the predictive analytics solution? So, Azure Machine Learning Designer will be the correct option here. You can remember this keyword. They want to deploy predictive analytics solution. So, predictive is a machine learning, right? Part of machine learning. So, B is the correct option in that case. Question 24. What can you use to automatically send an alert if an administrator stops an Azure virtual machine? So, Azure Monitor we can use to automatically send an alert if admin stops an virtual machine. C is the correct option. Azure Monitor is the correct answer. Azure Service has provide health status of Azure service, right? So this is not correct. Azure Monitor provide the health status of your application using insights and logs. So Azure Monitor is the correct answer here. Question 25. This is a drag and drop type question. Match the Azure services to the correct description. Instructions to answer: drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each service may be used once, more than once, or not at all. So these are the options, and this is the description. We have to drag and drop to the corresponding uh, description. So first one is saying provide a cloud-based enterprise data warehouse. So it is Azure Synapse Analytics will be the correct option here, because Azure Synapse Analytics is a cloud-based enterprise data warehouse. Second one is saying uses past training to provide predictions that are high probability. So much Azure machine learning will be the correct option here, because it is related to predictions and right. So this is Azure machine learning. Third one, it is saying provide serverless computing functionalities. It will be Azure function. Azure function is will provide us serverless computing functionalities. Last one is saying process data from millions of sensors. This is simple only. It is IoT Hub. IoT Hub will process data from millions of sensors. So these are the correct option here. Azure Synapse Analytics provide a cloud-based enterprise data warehouse. Azure machine learning use past training to provide predictions that have a high probability. Azure function provides serverless computing functionalities, and Azure IoT Hub process data from millions of sensors. As in keyword, you can remember Azure Synapse Analytics is EWD, means Enterprise Data Warehouse. Machine learning is related to training to machine, or training to provide predictions, right? Azure function is related to serverless computing, and IoT hub is related to data from millions of sensors. Question 26. You have an Azure environment. You need to create an Azure virtual machines from a tablet that runs the Android operating system. So what are the three possible solutions? Each correct answer present a complete solution. So what option we will choose here? Use Bash in Azure Cloud Shell, the correct option, and use PowerShell also in Azure Cloud Shell, the correct option. And also we have to choose one more. It means use the Azure portal. So A, B, and E are the correct option here. Use Bash in Azure Cloud Shell, use PowerShell in Azure Cloud Shell, and use the Azure portal. So keyword here is they want to create a new virtual machines using a tablet. So Android tablet device will be having a browser that is enough to connect to Azure portal. Once you are connected to Azure portal, you can create VMs in three ways: using the graphical portal, using the Azure Cloud Shell using Bash, or using the Azure Cloud Shell using PowerShell. Right. So these are the correct option. Question 27. A team of developer at your company plans to deploy and then remove 50 virtual machines each week. All the virtual machines are configured by using Azure Resource Manager templates. You need to recommend which Azure service will minimize the administrative efforts required to deploy and remove the virtual machine. So what should you recommend? So, Azure Dev Test Lab will be the correct option here. B is the correct answer. We can use Azure Dev Test Labs to create and remove virtual machines. Azure Dev Test Lab used to quickly create Windows and Linux environments by using reusable templates and artifacts. Question 28. To complete the sentence, select the appropriate option in the answer area. Which of these is a common platform for deploying objects to a cloud infrastructure and for implementing consistency across the Azure environment? So, Azure Resource Manager template provide a common platform for deploying objects to a cloud infrastructure and for implementing consistency across the Azure environment. So, ARM or Azure Resource Management template is the correct option here. Correct answer will be ARM. It is just a template for deployment. Policies are just the rules that you can create and apply. You cannot use you cannot use a rule to deploy. You use a common platform, which is ARM, means Azure Resource Manager. Question 29. This is a yes or no type question. First one is saying Microsoft SQL Server 2019 installed on a Azure virtual machine is an example of platform as a service. So this character wrong. It is wrong. Why? Because they are saying they are using Azure virtual machines, and we know Azure virtual machine is a infrastructure as services. It is not PaaS. Azure VM is infrastructure as services. Hence, it is no. Next, Azure SQL Database is an example of platform as services. Yes, Azure SQL Database is PaaS service, and also Azure Cosmos DB is an example of software as service. No, Azure Cosmos DB and Azure SQL DB both are PaaS, both are platform as services, not software as services, right? So Cosmos DB also PaaS. So first one is wrong because it is infrastructure services. Second is correct because this is correct. SQL database is PaaS. Azure Cosmos DB is not software services, so this is also this is wrong. I hope this is clear. So Azure VM is infrastructure services, hence it is no. Azure database is PaaS, it is correct. Cosmos DB is PaaS, but they are saying it is SaaS, so it is not correct. Question 30. Drag and drop. Match the Azure services to the correct description. Instructions: we have to drag and drop appropriate Azure service from the columns to the left to its description on the right. Each service may be used once or more than once or not at all. So first one is saying provide operating system virtualization. So what we'll use? We'll use Azure virtual machines in that case. Second one is saying provide portable environment for virtualized applications. So for that we will use Azure container instances. And third is saying use to build, deploy and scale web apps. So for that we have Azure app service. And last one is saying provide a platform for serverless code. So Azure function will be the correct option here. Azure function provide a platform for serverless code. So these are the correct options. Question 31. What does a customer provider in a software as a service model? So it provide customer will provide application data in software as a service model. So A will be the correct answer here. The question is saying what the customer gives, not the cloud provider. So application data will be provided by customer. Data storage third party provided means this Azure or Microsoft will provide. Compute resources will be provided by cloud provider or third party. Application software also will be provided by cloud provider or third party. Only application data will be shared by customer in software as a service model. Question 32. For each of the following statements, select yes if it is true, otherwise no. So first one is saying Azure file is an example of infrastructure as services. So is this correct or no? Yeah, this is not correct. DNS server that runs on Azure virtual machine is an example of platform as services. This is also not correct because it is saying Azure virtual machine, right? Azure virtual machine is infrastructure as services, not PaaS. So this is not correct. Fourth is saying Microsoft Intune is an example of software as services. Yes, this is correct. Microsoft Intune is software as services. So Azure file is a PaaS. It is not infrastructure as services. It is platform as services. DNS server is on in Azure VM, so it is infrastructure as services, but it is saying it is PaaS. So this is not correct. Microsoft Intune is software as services. So no, why is the correct answer here. Question 33. So again, yes or no type question. Cloud computing provide elastic scalability. So yes, this is correct. Cloud computing provides us elastic scalability. Second, customer can minimize capital expenditure by using a public cloud. Yes, this is also correct. When we use public cloud, capital expenditure will go down or minimize. Third, cloud computing leverages virtualization to provide services to multiple customers simultaneously. Yes, this is also correct. Cloud computing leverages virtualization to provide services to multiple customers simultaneously. This is correct statement. So all of these are yes. This is the correct answer. Question 34. This is a hotspot. You create a resource group named RG1 in Azure Resource Manager. You need to prevent accidental deletion of resources in RG1. So which setting should you use to answer? Select the appropriate setting in the answer area. So which of these setting you will choose to prevent accidental deletion? So lock will be the correct option here. We will choose lock. You can configure a lock on a resource group to prevent the accidental deletion. Question 35. This question requires that you evaluate the underlying text to determine if it is correct. A sport plan that gives you best practice information, health status and notification and 24 into 7 access to billing information at the lowest possible cost is a standard sport plan. So instruction are saying review the underlying text. If it makes the statement correct, then select no changes needed. Else, if the statement is incorrect, select the answer choice and make the statement correct. So out of this, basic will be the correct option because this is a basic plan, right? Whatever they are saying here, they are saying it gives you best practice information, health status and notifications and 24 into 7 access to billing information at the lowest possible cost. So it is at the lowest possible cost. These are provided by basic plan, right? It is not standard plan, it is basic plan. So C is the correct option here. Basic Sport Plan provides 24 into 7 access to billing and subscriptions, support, online self-help documentation, white papers, sport forums, best practices, access to full set of Azure advisor recommendation and health status and notifications, access to personalized service health dashboard and health KPIs. So basic is the correct option here, not standard sport plan. Question 36. What is guaranteed in an Azure Service Level Agreement, I mean SLA for virtual machines? So this uptime will be the correct option here. The SLA for virtual machines guarantees uptime. The amount of uptime guaranteed depend upon factors such as whether the VMs are in availability set or availability zone. If there is more than one VM, the distribution of VM is if there is more than one, or the disk type, or if it is a single VM. So these are the multiple factor upon this uptime depends, right? Question 37. What is required to use Azure Cost Management? So pay as you go subscription is needed. Nothing else is required. They will not ask for uh, m- they will not ask to pay you again. In the subscription itself, you will be able to use Azure Cost Management, right? So Azure Cost Management and billing is available to Azure customers and managed services provider at no additional cost. You just need to get a subscription, pay as you go subscription, and nothing, no additional cost will be charged. Question 38. Your company has an Azure subscription that contains resources in several regions. You need to ensure that administrator can only create resources into those regions. So what should you use? So we will use an Azure policy, right? Azure policy will ensure that administrator will create resources in those regions only. So B is the correct option here. Azure policy, it is policy, sorry, typo error, has the capacity to enforce compliance in new resources or in others that already exist. Question 39, you need to ensure that when Azure Active Directory user connect to Azure AD from the internet by using an anonymous IP address, the users are prompted automatically to change their password. So which Azure service should you use? We will use Azure AD Identity Protection Service, right? So this will ensure when Azure AD user connect to Azure AD from internet by using anonymous IP, the users will be prompted to automatically change their password. So D is the correct option here. Azure AD Identity Protection includes two risk policies, sign-in risk policy and user risk policy. You can configure the sign-in risk policy to require that user change their password. Question 40, to what should an application connect to retrieve security tokens? So Azure Key Vault will be the correct option here. We can use Azure Key Vault to retrieve the security tokens. Azure Key Vault keeps security tokens. So this is the correct option here. If you want free PDF of this video, please subscribe to our channel and mail us answer of the next two questions. Please send your answers at certyiq@gmail.com. So this is the question number one. Your company has an Azure subscription that contains several resources in several regions. You need to ensure that administrator can only create resources in those regions. So what should you use out of these options? Question two. This is a hotspot. You create a resource group named RG1 in Azure Resource Manager. You need to prevent the accidental deletion of resource in RG1. So which setting should you use to answer? Select the appropriate setting in the answer area. So these are the options.